Welcome again to my YouTube channel, Storytelling by Kenny. Please kindly click on the subscribe button to subscribe to this channel and click on the notification button to always get notified whenever we post another beautiful story. Thank you. A love that started too early. Tola and Johnson met on their first day in JSS 1. It started as a simple friendship, helping each other with classwork, sharing snacks during break, and walking home together whenever they had the chance. Their classmates noticed their bond early and often teased them, calling them husband and wife. At first, they laughed about it, but as they grew older, the teasing turned into reality. By the time they were in SS1, their feelings for each other had blossomed into what they believed was love. They held hands, exchanged love letters, and made promises of being together forever. Their classmates admired them. Their teachers noticed their closeness, and even their families saw something special between them. For Tola, Johnson was everything. He was her best friend, her confidant, her future. She believed their love story would be like the ones in the movies, high school sweethearts who would eventually get married and live happily ever after. But what she didn't know was that teenage love, though sweet and innocent, is often built on emotions rather than true understanding. While some secondary school relationships last, many are just fantasies, beautiful, intense, but not meant to stand the test of time. The dream of forever. When it was time to write WAC and JAM, Tola and Johnson motivated each other to study hard. They promised that no matter what, they would stay together, even if they had to attend different universities. And so, when Tola gained admission into a university in the East to study business administration, and Johnson got into a university in the North to study engineering, they were sad but hopeful. They made plans. They would visit each other during the holidays. They would call every day. They would prove to the world that their love was real and not just a secondary school fantasy. For the first few months, things remained sweet. Johnson called Tola every night, telling her about his classes, his new friends, and how much he missed her. Tola, too, would stay up late just to hear his voice, sometimes neglecting her studies because of their long conversations. She had no idea that, while she was holding on tightly, Johnson was slowly letting go. The university reality. University life opened Johnson's eyes to a different world. He was no longer the boy in a school uniform holding hands with one girl. He was now a young man in a world full of choices. At first, he tried to remain loyal, but as time passed, he became curious. He started talking to other girls, making new friends, and attending parties where no one knew he had a girlfriend. The more he enjoyed this new life, the less he thought about Tola. Soon, the late-night calls became less frequent. His excuses became more common. I'm busy with school. I have an assignment. I'm tired. At first, Tola ignored the warning signs. She believed in their love. She trusted Johnson. But then, she started hearing stories. Friends from his university told her about the other girls, about how Johnson was seen with a different girl almost every week, about how he was even dating some of their former secondary school classmates. Still, she refused to believe it. Even when a close friend sent her screenshots of Johnson flirting with another girl, she told herself, "It's just a joke. He loves me. He would never hurt me." But love, without truth, is just an illusion. The heartbreak. By the time they graduated, Tola was eager to start planning their future together. She had remained faithful, turning down every guy who approached her because she was waiting for Johnson. She imagined the day he would propose, their wedding, and the beautiful life they would build together. But one evening, she received a call that changed everything. "Tola, we need to talk," Johnson said, his voice serious. Her heart pounded. "What is it?" she asked. A long silence. Then he said the words that shattered her world. "My father said I must marry a girl from our tribe. Tola's heart stopped.
What?
What do you mean? I can't marry you, Tola. My family won't allow it. Tears filled her eyes. After everything, Johnson? After all these years? I'm sorry, he said. It's out of my hands. And just like that, it was over. Life after love. Tola cried for months. She couldn't understand how someone who had promised her forever could leave her just like that. She blamed herself for not listening to the warnings. She had ignored all the red flags because she thought love was enough. But love is not enough. She could have drowned in her pain, but instead, she chose to rise. She buried herself in her business, focusing all her energy on building something meaningful. She started selling clothes online, and soon her brand grew. She opened a boutique, then another, and before long, she was a well-known name in the fashion industry. While Johnson was busy chasing different women, Tola was busy chasing success. But there was one thing missing: love. At 30 plus, she was still searching for a life partner. People introduced her to different men, but nothing seemed to work out. Some were not serious, some were too controlling, and others just didn't connect with her the way Johnson once did. Meanwhile, Johnson was also doing well. After university, he started his own engineering firm, and it quickly became successful. He had money, cars, and a lavish lifestyle, but he never settled down. He was still moving from one woman to another, enjoying his freedom. A lesson learned. One day, Tola and Johnson ran into each other at a high-class event. It was the first time they had seen each other in years. "Tola," he said, surprised. She looked at him and smiled.
Johnson.
For a moment, he was speechless. She looked more beautiful than ever, confident, elegant, successful. "How have you been?" he asked. "I've been good," she said. "And you?"
He laughed.
"You know me, still enjoying life." Tola nodded. She could see it in his eyes. He was successful and happy. They talked for a while, but something had changed. Tola no longer felt the love she once had for him. She realized that the Johnson she had cried over, the man she had once dreamed of marrying, was no longer the man she wanted. That night, as she drove home, she smiled to herself. She had loved Johnson with all her heart, but now she knew better. Love is not just about the past. It's about the future. And her future was still waiting for her. The truth about secondary school love. Tola's story is one that many young people can relate to. Secondary school love feels real and magical, but most times, it is just a phase, something sweet but not strong enough to last a lifetime. Yes, some secondary school sweethearts do get married. But more often than not, people grow, change, and realize that what they thought was love was just childhood fantasy. True love requires more than emotions. It requires growth, maturity, and the ability to build together, not just dream together. And for those who have loved and lost like Tola, the most important lesson is this: when love fails, life goes on. And sometimes, what feels like a heartbreak is just life pushing you towards something better.